Hello and welcome to Steve's Backyard Bonsai. This beautiful Procumbens juniper on a rock creation is the creation of Candice from Bonsai Science. Ownership has transferred twice now. It was transferred to Dave of Dave's Bonsai, and he transferred it to me. So what I intend to do is just clear out the growth that would keep me from wiring some of these branches. I want to get a little bit more downward motion on this one. It'll be very easy, which will separate it from this one. I rewatched Candice's video on this because of, she speaks very eloquently about the science of the trees that she's working on. And she had indicated, don't cut any of the new growth at this time of year that's at the top of these pads that you're going to be creating. Then if I have time, I want to start clearing away some of this moss just to see how well the tree is secured to the rock. Ideally, I would like to have no wire on the tree at all. And I'm going to zoom up on an understory plant that's in here that I don't know what it is. If I know Candice, this might have been a real cool weed, and I think I remember her speaking about something that was growing that was sort of succulent-like. But this is a very, very cool plant. Using my Dave's Bonsai chopstick to move it around so you can see it. If anybody knows what this is, I'm going to try and... The leaves in there are tiny, 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 and they increase fractally toward the outside. So beautiful. Okay, young trees like this are sold at garden centers. They're the kind that trail along the ground sometimes. The first thing I'm going to do is clean out this growth. This is not anything that I'm going to be needing. It does show me that this tree does backbud nicely. Around back, I don't know if you can see this. I hope you can. So in terms of a lesson, if I'm going to be wiring, I've got two branches here that I'll be wiring together. I'll use a heavier gauge wire here because I want to move it down a little bit. That'll only be anchored up here. And I'll use a lighter gauge wire, which will also take it out to the outside branches. All right, now I'm cleaning out more of the interior growth. And I'll be looking for some of this growth that I might want to have stay on, because eventually a branch is going to die and it's always nice to have a replacement. But I'm not sure I see anything like that here, so I'm just taking it all off. There's some strange upward facing growth that I'm going to take off. I do want these branches to be seen. It's the middle of August, getting toward the end of August. We have through the later days in October of a growing season yet, so I think this is okay. All right, now all I want to do is remove anything that's growing downward. All right, so all of this will be one pad, although this one could be a pad on its own, couldn't it? Yeah, this is miniature, so this could be a pad on its own. And like I said, I'm not going to mess too much with the upper growth on these pads. That'll come after the spring flush. I want to clean that out. Oh, this is going to be nice. Should I remove that? Here's a branch that will be in the way. I'm sorry if you if you didn't see that. All right, like I said, I'm going down below now, for real. And I'm just taking off anything that's growing downward, or looking like it wants to grow downward. Because we are still defining this tree, or this tree is still defining itself. This could be on a downward sweep, which would look really nice since the rock, most of the weight of the rock is on this side. So if I start to pull that around, that's kind of nice. There's another upward facing one. All right, that's all I want to do on this branch. And I'm only going to be able to wire it out to here, which is fine. That's all I need. I might take this one over a bit. I would cut that off, but I wanted to have all of its fine growth collecting strength for the winter. All right, I'm going to move up here and I'm going to start from the bottom because I want to create the separation between these pads. And I think I'm continuing the same design strategy that Candice had with this tree by doing so. I'm anxious to see what's going on the rock. That's a very cool rock, by the way. Let's clear out a little on the interior part of that. This stuff, what do I want to do with it? I think it has to go. We are done with this branch, this beautiful branch here. So here is a pad. Same thing, clearing out the interior, clearing out things low down that'll keep me from being able to wire if I do intend to wire this. And I don't know yet. There are branches on here that I definitely want to wire. But whether this one is or not, I haven't decided. Okay, separation between this and this, I can get very easily. Taking off a part of this branch. Shaded out by it anyway. And here's a piece of this branch that I want to keep. It's in a good place. I'm going to grow it on. But there's a lot of stuff here I don't want. And as I say all the time, this is a tree you can readily find in your garden centers. I don't care if it's a commercial big box garden center or your local nursery. You can find this species of tree and it's great. It's fantastic. Do I want this? I've got a lot going on up here that I haven't decided what to do with yet. I'm going to keep this for now. Just take the bottom growth off of it. But this branch might disappear in the future, or it may surprise me. Bonsai's full of surprises. Sometimes not such good ones. It is a glorious day here on Long Island today. The weather is perfect. See, look at this nice separation I'm getting all around the tree. Okay, So I'm working my way toward the front. And this is ugly, this one, but I'm going to keep it. This branch above it is very complicated. I think I'm going to put a glove on my left hand. Very complicated up here. There's a lot of fresh growth, so I don't want to take off much. But I do want to be able to look into it from the top. The future branch location here, is it? No, it's too close to the inside. Here's one right at the top. And this provides a nice view in, if you're so inclined. And this is a good view for me to be working on as well. So to create some separation between this and this reaches over far enough to cover up any bald spots that may be created here. There's a lot of growth here that's not necessary. You do want light getting in there. All right, I'm going to make this is controversial on my part because I might regret this, but I'm taking this branch off. That's allowing light to get right through there. All right, so I don't regret it. Good. Separating it from this. This is the major trunk line. Now you can see it right here. Let's say we do a little time lapse right now. All right, let's get a little wire on this. All right, let me see if I can get a little initial movement here. I want to come down just slightly. And up at the end. And I'm going to want to wire these down this way, and I'll do a double wire twist, and I'll do that up here as well. I don't think I need this. There's a more juvenile branch here that I don't think I need. And I'm going to go with 1.5 for the outer section. And what I mean by that is I'll have 2 wires on each segment. I'll follow the pathway of the wires that I had previously put on and take them to the ends and then separate them on the 2 branches. Take this one to the next segment, but I'll separate this one. So I want to come over the top without crossing wires, and I'll figure out a way to go faster here. further along on this upper section. Bought a second gin pliers just so I could do this. It just happens to be the same brand as the one on the stainless steel one that I had. Tiny Roots. I'm going to come around this one. And this one. Continue up. Trying not to trap any of the foliage. And I'll get this one all the way to the end. And trim the end off. All right, positioning. All right, so that's a nice look there. Let's see. All right, let me get in with the rest of it and see if anything else is calling for wiring. That's it so far. I may have to thin it out here a little bit more. I want to bring this guy down a little bit. I'll do that next, and I'll pick another branch to go with it, but I'll do it all in time lapse. Well, I guess this is kind of like time lapse. When you set it to time lapse but forget to turn it on and then do all the work, it's kind of like time lapse. So what I did was I wired this branch, pushed it down, wired this branch and pulled it up a little bit to create some separation here and to bring some interest down here. Now I'd like to do more of that here, but I think I need to have these all extend in the spring, which will give me some opportunity to deal with some more supple branches. This is pretty stiff right here. I've pushed down on this pretty hard, which kind of indicates that it's pretty secure to the rock, but I can't trust that. So I want to look here. So let me get a good view and we'll dig in. All right, so let me reach in here and start pulling away the moss from the base of the tree. And a lot of this moss down right here is dead anyway. I remember there was a muck layer. That's what I'm going through now. I do want to see what's going on with these roots. And not to mention there's some moss up the tree, and there's a wire here that I would love to be able to remove. Maybe unwisely. Just going to work away at this, and then we'll come in and take a close look. Well, I've cleared away as much as I dare, and what I have are these fine roots. I'm sure there are roots, larger roots somewhere on here, but I don't know, I used a spray bottle to kind of wear it away, and I'm not seeing anything large. However, there are quite a lot of these fine roots, and they may be gripping nicely. Around this side you can see the wire, and it's hard to tell if it's biting in or not. This one's kind of loose. It might be biting in here. This is rather tight. But around this side I've got the same situation. The roots are a little bit more defined here. But once again, there's not a heavy root wrapped. So I'm just going to leave this like this. I have a little bit of the moss that I pulled away, which I will kind of gently put back in a sort of protective way. And I really don't care if it continues to erode. There's a nice Minnesota or Wisconsin worm in there. I'm just going to cover up the ends here. And I'll put this back on the bench. So just to recap, I've gotten a little bit more bend in those lower branches. This has a nice flow on the outside of a curve, and I'm going to let this lengthen and strengthen for next year, and I'll do some more work on this then. All right, so that's it for today with my Procumbens juniper planted by Candice, given to me by Dave, and thanks for keeping me company in my backyard.